You spot it before your dog does. A puddle sits beside the road. Green, murky, the kind of water that looks like it's been collecting dirt, leaves, and who knows what else for days. You tighten the leash. Too late. Its head is already down. 3 loud slurps, then 4 more. You freeze. Your brain is already calculating the vet bill. But then, nothing. Your dog looks up, wags its tail, and happily continues the walk as if it just drank fresh spring water. An hour later, it's chasing squirrels. By tonight, it'll probably be begging for dinner. Tomorrow, it'll try to lick your face. Now imagine you drank that exact same puddle. You probably wouldn't be planning tomorrow's walk. You'd be planning a trip to the bathroom and maybe the hospital. So what just happened? How can 2 mammals drink the same disgusting water, yet one walks away perfectly fine while the other risks days of misery? Most people think they know the answer. Dogs just have stronger stomachs. It sounds reasonable. It's also incomplete, because what just happened wasn't the work of one incredible organ. It was the result of millions of years of survival engineering, and it starts with something we rarely notice. Animals don't always survive dirty water. In fact, countless wild animals die from contaminated ponds, parasite-filled rivers, and stagnant pools every single year. So why don't we ever see it? Because sick animals disappear. A deer doesn't collapse in the middle of an open field. A wolf doesn't advertise weakness. When they become seriously ill, they hide, deep in the undergrowth, far from predators, far from us. Some recover, some never come back. Nature quietly erases the evidence. That's why documentaries can be misleading.
You watch a lion drink from a muddy swamp before walking away like nothing happened. You see wolves lapping water beside rotting carcasses. Your own dog happily samples puddles that look more like soup than water. The survivors stay in the story. The unlucky ones don't. But even after accounting for that, dogs still survive filthy water far more often than we ever could. Not because they're immune, because the fight begins long before that water reaches the intestines. Imagine shrinking until you're smaller than a grain of sand. Now follow 1 drop of muddy water into your dog's mouth. That drop isn't just water. It's carrying bacteria, tiny fungi, microscopic parasites, each one searching for a new home. If it entered your mouth, many of those microbes would continue their journey almost untouched. Inside a dog's mouth, they hit the first line of defense. Dog saliva isn't just there to keep the mouth wet, it's packed with antimicrobial weapons. Enzymes begin breaking apart bacterial cell walls. Proteins lock away iron that bacteria desperately need to survive. Antibodies patrol for familiar invaders. The battle has already started before the water is even swallowed. Not every microbe dies, but enough of them do to change what happens next. Cats use almost the same strategy. That constant grooming isn't just about looking clean. Every lick spreads fresh saliva across their fur, helping reduce harmful microbes before they become a problem. Even horses produce astonishing amounts of saliva, up to 10 liters a day, washing countless unwanted passengers toward the next stage. And that's where things become truly unbelievable, because everything that survives is about to fall into a place so hostile that even bone doesn't always make it out intact.
Human stomach acid is already powerful. With a pH between about 1.5 and 3.5, it destroys many dangerous bacteria and helps digest food. But a dog's stomach goes even further, often reaching a pH close to 1. That tiny number doesn't sound impressive until you remember that the pH scale isn't linear. Each step represents roughly a 10-fold increase in acidity. A dog's stomach isn't just slightly stronger, it's dramatically more aggressive. Raw meat, old carcasses, bone fragments, bacteria, most never survive the journey. Researchers believe this extreme acidity evolved because wild canines couldn't afford to be picky eaters. Fresh meals were rare. Scavenging old carcasses often meant swallowing huge numbers of dangerous microbes. Over millions of years, the stomach became less like a digestive organ and more like a biological kill chamber. It sounds like the mystery is solved, except it isn't, because some bacteria always survive. Some slip through the saliva, some survive the acid. And if that's true, why don't they simply take over once they reach the gut? The answer is surprisingly simple. They don't arrive alone, and more importantly, they don't arrive first. Inside every healthy dog lives an invisible world so crowded that scientists are still discovering what lives there. Trillions of bacteria, fungi, viruses.
Tiny organisms that have spent an entire lifetime evolving alongside their host. Together, they form what's known as the microbiome. But don't picture a few helpful germs floating around. Picture a city. Every home occupied, every restaurant full, every parking space taken.
Now imagine a group of strangers trying to move in overnight. That's exactly what invading bacteria experience. By the time they reach the gut, every source of food has already been claimed. Every surface is occupied. Every corner already belongs to someone else. The newcomers aren't welcomed. They're surrounded, outnumbered, and slowly starved. Many dangerous microbes fail for one surprisingly simple reason. There's nowhere left for them to live. Scientists call this competitive exclusion. Nature calls it survival. The existing microbes don't have to attack the invaders. Simply by thriving, they leave almost nothing behind for harmful bacteria to exploit. But the gut isn't fighting alone. Watching everything is another layer of defense, the immune system.
Think of it as a security team that's worked the same neighborhood for years. Every drink, every meal, every muddy puddle, every familiar stream. Each encounter teaches it something. Over time, a dog drinking from the same ponds and puddles isn't just getting lucky, its body is learning. It begins recognizing the local microbes. It remembers which ones are harmless, which ones deserve attention, and which ones need to be destroyed immediately. That's why the same puddle can mean two completely different things. To a local dog, it's familiar territory. To another animal passing through for the first time, it could be full of strangers, and strangers are dangerous. This is why wild animals can still become sick from dirty water. Move them into a new environment, introduce unfamiliar parasites, or expose them to bacteria they've never encountered before, and suddenly those incredible defenses aren't nearly as effective. The system isn't built on invincibility. It's built on familiarity. That also explains why veterinarians discourage pet owners from letting indoor dogs casually drink from random puddles. A dog that spent its life drinking clean tap water hasn't trained its microbiome the same way one raised outdoors has. Its invisible army simply isn't as prepared. Then there are horses. At first, they seem to break every rule. Unlike dogs, they don't rely on incredibly acidic stomachs. So how can they drink from rivers and shared watering holes? They defend themselves in a completely different way. Instead of building a stronger weapon, they built a bigger army.
Deep inside every horse sits an enormous fermentation chamber called the cecum, followed by a massive large intestine. Together, the digestive tract of a full-grown horse can hold over 200 liters of material. Inside that space lives one of the richest microbial ecosystems on Earth, thousands of different bacterial species working together. When harmful bacteria arrive, they don't enter empty territory. They walk into a packed stadium. Every seat is taken. Every resource belongs to someone else. The existing community overwhelms them simply by already being there. It's a completely different strategy from a dog's stomach acid, yet it reaches the same result: protection through evolution. But every advantage comes with a weakness. Because horses depend so heavily on that delicate microbial balance, even small disruptions can become dangerous. A sudden diet change, stress, certain antibiotics, all of them can damage the very community keeping harmful bacteria under control. The fortress that protects them can also become their greatest vulnerability. Which brings us back to us. If evolution built dogs into living filtration systems, why didn't it do the same for humans? Because we solved the problem another way. Instead of changing our bodies, we changed the world. We learned to boil water. We cooked food over fire. We dug cleaner wells, built aqueducts, invented filtration. Eventually, we built water treatment plants capable of supplying entire cities with clean drinking water. Animals evolved stronger digestive systems. Humans evolved better technology. Both solved the same problem, just in completely different ways. That's why your dog can happily drink from a puddle that makes you cringe. It isn't fearless. It isn't immune. It's protected by layer after layer of defenses built over millions of years. Saliva, powerful stomach acid, a fast digestive system, a trained immune system, and an army of microbes already waiting inside. Not one defense, 5 working together. And that's the real answer. Your dog isn't surviving dirty water because it's invincible. It's surviving because evolution has been preparing for that single drink for millions of years.